Now, it's been a tough couple of months for Jewish-Arab relations here in Israel against a backdrop of terror and violence, but there are still rays of hope on the coexistence front. Our Sarah Shalala went to one of the country's biggest hospitals to observe how this cooperation and camaraderie plays out there day by day.
Against the recent backdrop of conflict between Jews and Arabs in Israel and the West Bank, the divisions, the politics, the differences, very rarely those seep into these four walls at SHEBA Hospital just east of Tel Aviv.
I think the minute that people come into the borders of the hospital, all these boundaries, they come off.
Lua is a resident physician here at the hospital's emergency department. She says on the job, medical workers and patients alike look beyond the religious and political differences. The focus is purely on the industry, on treatment, on patients, on solutions.
When an Arab physician or Muslim physician comes in to check the patient, or the boundary that they have it outside of the hospital boundaries, it's been taken off, and they look at you only as their physician, that the main caregiver that they want to give them now, the primary care that they need.
With Israel's political situation, there's often a lack of awareness of the possibility of cooperation and the success that can come from that partnership. But for these two staffers here, well, they recognize that real coexistence is about individual compromises and friendships.
We always try to say that it's okay. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be together. Something which, from my point of view, should be obvious. But sadly, it isn't. And I think that if there are still people in the world like me or Noah, it doesn't matter what will happen to the world. It will still be called a good world.
Some say both Jews and Arabs are groomed by their respective societies with a lack of understanding at times towards the other, which sometimes leads to mischaracterizing the other. For Noah, though, who understands the power of planting deeper roots, she chooses to channel most of her energy into breaking down those walls and bridging that gap, both literally and metaphorically.
I hold workshops on coexistence and on awareness of other cultures. Doctors, nurses, administrative people, they come, we give lectures, we let them do simulations among themselves with actors, and in this way they get into the shoes of the people from different cultures. It gets them to feel what other people feel.
And that's not all. Noah's efforts are bringing about dialogue too between the communities at SHEBA.
I, for example, lecture on ultra-Orthodox culture, the community from which I come from. I'm an ultra-Orthodox woman, and I lecture on the community, its sensitivities, and the conflicts the ultra-Orthodox have here in the hospital. In general, I even give words the ultra-Orthodox use, and people come out and tell me it's the first time they heard about this culture in the first instance. So it's an effective tool. It has an influence and makes the patient's experience much, much better.
SHEBA is just the beginning, offering an example of the multifaceted positive impact that can come from the power of working together in the health industry.
Well, I think the field of medicine throughout Israel and the entire world, hopefully, can serve as a great example to peace.
Voices like Noah's, Lena's, Lua's and Dr. Ehrenberg's are a testament to their belief that coexistence and understanding is the only way for an equitable future for Israelis and Palestinians, even though they do admit that at times blocking out the outside world isn't so easy.